All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Daily High. I am your host, Tone Vase. And let's go straight to the charts. They're being very, very interesting this morning. We're going, I didn't even do screen share today. Hold on. Let me do this and this and this and this and this. We are live, right? I don't see anyone in the comments. Let's do that. People watching? Yeah, I think people are watching. Okay. Real quick, I actually need to update these numbers because the month has come to an end. Let me just get the important ones, and then this way, grayscale. Let me just get like the top 5 or something. That's grayscale. This is mini. Wow, mini really shot up. And ARC is now below Bitwise. Oh, no, ARC is back above Bitwise. So they're going back and forth. So that's ARC. That's Bitwise. And VanEck and Invesco. The rest are not really that important. It's debatable if Invesco is important. All right. Screw it. Might as well do all of them. Valkyrie. They're also. That's Valkyrie. Franklin. Yeah, because I got to finish the. I got to like move this over. Wow, what a horrible November. Look at that. So these are the final November numbers. Well, kind of November numbers. I guess ARC and Invesco and Franklin already have the December 1st. Monthly chart, it's 2 days into the month. It's completely irrelevant right now. The weekly chart. So again, this is only the second day of the week, and we just dropped all the way down to 83, and now we rallied all the way back to 90. So the weekly chart is also not interesting right now because as volatile as we've been on a back-to-back days, we have no idea where this week is going to end. Now, the MRI indicator is telling me to wait until a weekly MRI buy, and I'm praying that the weekly MRI buy is not at 78,000. I would rather have the weekly MRI buy at 70, or I would rather have the weekly MRI buy at 92, which is actually unlikely. We can't have an MRI buy at 92, but we can have an MRI buy at 90. So if we are trading 3 weeks from now at 90, we will get the MRI buy. But 2 weeks from now, we do have to close below 86. So there is going to have to be some downside into the mid 80s 2 weeks from now in order for us to catch an MRI buy. That's kind of my buying zone. I need an MRI buy, or I need a serious rally, or I need a serious drop. Like right now, this is just not my buy zone. The daily chart is where all the craziness is happening. So this is like the most important chart. What we have is we have yesterday, and if you guys recall what I said yesterday, I mean, the way the market crashed in like an hour after futures opened tells me that Bitcoin is too small of a market cap, too easy to push the price around. I'm not going to say it's manipulation, because I have respect for the word manipulation. I consider it manipulation when someone is doing something illicit, when someone is doing something outside the rule set. Just because you have a lot of money and you can push the price of Bitcoin around doesn't make it manipulation. Okay? Give me 1 second. Yes, you can say someone is manipulating the price of Bitcoin, but as long as they're playing within the rules, as long as they're not like, owning an exchange and then like stop hunting as long as they're playing within the rules, it's fine. It's kind of like with the poker analogy, someone that has won a lot of chips throughout the night now has a massive stack of chips, and they now get to manipulate the game by pushing people around because they have more chips. But as long as they earn those chips legally within the rules of poker, they're not doing anything illicit. So that's why I don't like. I like to clarify when I say manipulation. There is. I just like to call people can push the price around. And one of my serious concerns last night was relating to Michael Saylor. So Michael Saylor has taken on a lot of loans, like billions of dollars worth of loans. And as long as Bitcoin stays above like $70,000 by mid 2027, he's okay. But I can envision a world where there is a lot of powerful people that don't like Michael Saylor having all this Bitcoin, and they would love to buy Bitcoin very, very cheap. And how can they like join together, collude a little bit, force the price of Bitcoin down into 2027 to a level where Michael Saylor is forced to sell? And you have to realize that if that is becoming the case, the market is going to dump Bitcoin. The market is going to get scared that Michael Saylor will be forced to sell Bitcoin in 2027. And end of 2026 is going to be a horrible year. So if the market realizes that Michael Saylor has no choice but to start selling his Bitcoin to pay back some of those 27 loans, the market is going to crash long before Michael Saylor has to sell the Bitcoin, which would force Michael Saylor to sell his Bitcoin lower. So you see this perpetual problem that could be happening. Now, all of this is, of course, going to be avoided if the price of Bitcoin goes back above $100,000 and stays up there. But like I said, I can envision a world where between other large institutions like the BlackRocks and the Goldman Sachs and some of the others, plus the Trump administration, who I don't trust at all, they're like, what can we do to force Michael Saylor to sell? Because they can force him to sell like next year, early next year, right? Price of Bitcoin crashes to 40,000, Michael Saylor's fucked. He can't take that risk, and he would have to sell next year, thus creating the price of Bitcoin going down way lower. So there are risks in the system. Now, the good news is the U.S. economy is dog shit, and people are recognizing that, which is why the prices of precious metals have gone up as well. I just think they're exponentially unsustainable at the moment. They're just got a little too high. And that's why Bitcoin is still up, and I still expect Europe to completely implode. So there's not that much Bitcoin to go around, and another halving's coming, and another halving will be here sooner than later. So, Tone, he raised $1.5 billion last week in terrible conditions, and he has years to raise $3 billion to clear the loans, and even then, he can refinance or only sell 2% of his stock. Yeah, it all sounds great. If Bitcoin is 60, he's in trouble. Imagine all the notes he has sold promising 600 plus MSTR stock prices on 2027. Right. All right. Let's look at this daily chart. So the daily chart is back to exactly where it was Friday night, basically. Friday night, Saturday. So we're back to this area. We're back to this resistance. I am optimistic that this resistance will get broken to the upside, but there is so much more resistance above it. So remember what I said yesterday. Off of this, my really strong resistance is here. I think I said that yesterday. This is where my strong resistance is. We got rejected at weak resistance. There is still the middle of the channel, but it's the top of the channel plus the moving average, plus this horizontal support. That is a triple whammy of resistance. Bitcoin is going to struggle breaking 100K. Let's see if we can get to 100K. This move this morning is very, very encouraging that we can break 100, that we can get to 100K. But whether we break it, I have no idea. It's hard. One of my moderators changed their handle. Everyone's confused. Someone is saying MSTR is in trouble and not Sailor. I'm not. Well, when I say trouble, I mean trouble for us, the holders, right? If MSTR is in trouble, MSTR has to sell Bitcoin. That's bad for all of us. I gotta finish the Knots versus Bitcoin Core debate. I mean, those people are still pushing for a fork, which is insane. All right, so we are literally back to where the price crashed at futures open. Like, we're literally right at that price. And I don't have much else to say on Bitcoin. Silver dropping a little bit this morning. That's good. Oil is not doing anything interesting. You can glance at MSTR stock again. See, S&P is about to break the new all-time highs. That's going to help Bitcoin a lot. I think the biggest factor is S&P at new all-time highs. S&P breaks 7,000. I think Bitcoin is going to be over 100K. MSTR back to 180. Yeah, it's on a weekly MRI buy. That's a good candle. That's a nice MRI reversal, but it's only Tuesday. Like, you really need to wait till closer to the end of the week to see how this candle shapes out. If this candle goes back and closes below 160, MSTR don't look very hot. But the way the current candle looks, it's great. I mean, would I trust the samurai buy? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I should take a look at some 200 strike calls, see how they're priced. If I was to buy calls, I would buy March 200 strike. That would be my optimal call to buy. March 200 strike calls. That would be my that would be my optimal time. That would be my optimal strike price. At this price. If the price drops below 160, 200 strike is no longer the optimal strike. But if you want to understand why that's the case, you got to check out my options course. BITF looks good, but I'm not sure about the mining sector right now. I don't have much of an opinion. So I'm confident. I mean, I like today. Like, I wouldn't sell today. I would let this run to the upside. I would consider getting out at 100. If we get to 100 and we're getting rejected, I think we're going to get rejected at 100. And then if you're lucky, it will find support back at 90 and then do this. It's not gonna. It's not gonna go straight up. There's always a pullback. So if I got stuck in a bad position, I would look to get out somewhere at 100 if we make it that far, and then I would try to buy the dip if we can avoid, because this moving average would round, and I would try to. How do I? They're like a ziggly line. There used to be like a zigzag line. Curve. There you go. I mean, this moving average will probably do something like this. Oh. Like this moving average will do something like this. And that's where I would like to pick up the Bitcoin. That would be my plan. Is there a 10 a.m. reversal? No, it wasn't late. Came in at 10:10. The high price was at 10:10. That's within my window. My 10 a.m. reversal window is 9:50 to 10:15. Wasn't that big of a reversal, though. S&P didn't have much of a reversal. It had consolidation at the top. Yeah, the S&P did not give you a 10 a.m. reversal today at all, because it went up for the first 10 minutes. Then it dropped. Oh, no, here it is. There's a minor 10 a.m. reversal here, but I don't like this double bottom situation. And it would have been very, very short. It was, 15 points. 20 years ago, I would have begged for 15 points. Now it doesn't even look like it moved when it moves 15 points. I would have been very bullish right here. I would have been forced to take my stop loss. My take on Japan's interest rates. I don't care about Japan. I'm sorry. I've said this for 10 years. What happens in Japan is irrelevant to the American markets. I know it's a controversial take. It's a controversial take. I spent my first 10 years of my trading career worried about Japan. And then my trading actually became profitable when I stopped, when I realized Japan doesn't exist. It's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant market. I'm sorry. I hate to break you the news. If you're worried about Japan, it will affect you once a decade. Like, I remember, 2 years ago, everyone was freaking out over Japan. I was on like these DMs with super wealthy money managers, and they were freaking out the world's going to end because Japan had to refinance their debt. And I'm like, dude, stop worrying about Japan. It's irrelevant. I'm like, yes, there was a bad day. Yes, it's a bad week. But for the next 3 years, you'll never hear about Japan again. That's exactly what happened. Stop caring about Japan. Your life will be way, way better. All right, guys, I got to get going. Thank you all for watching. And see you all on the next one. Yeah, it's good that we're back above 90. Like these low 80s really scare me because the worst place for Bitcoin to be is 78. If Bitcoin makes it to 78, it's going to 71. Like avoiding this is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. We need Bitcoin back above. We need to get back to 98 like immediately. And if we can get back to 98, we got a chance. We got a chance that we'll find support at 91 again. It's a lot easier to find support at 91 in December than it was for 90 to be support back in November. Because now you will have the top of this box. Actually, this box is becoming irrelevant. It's just this line. It's just this line now. That's the line. The area of the crash, the area of resistance, and now we got a chance to break it with the moving average, and then it becomes support. This is going to be critical, absolutely critical, just like this one is. Like these two blue lines are absolutely critical for opposite reasons. Well, at the moment, it's the same reason, but well, no, it's a lot easier to break the bottom line from the bottom because it was already resistance. I'm very optimistic for this situation. We avoided closing below the acceleration line. That was big. We can get a green star candle here. Tempting. Tempting to get back into a long. I've stayed out. I've been out. Tempting to get back into a long. A close above 91 on the daily. Not today, but like Thursday, where I get a green star candle. Very tempting. And then all we got to do is somehow get through this. If we consolidate between 89 and 94 for 1 to 2 months, that might actually be the most bullish thing that can possibly happen. There's no way we're going to consolidate in a $5,000 range for 2 months. We just had a $7,000 range in 2 days. So there's zero chance you're going to consolidate there for 2 months. I mean, if you said, what if we consolidate between 89 and 102 or 108? That's more likely. But like Bitcoin can't consolidate in a $5,000 range. It moves 8,000 in 1 day. So it's your range is impossible. I mean, a 2-month consolidation will look more like this. The low end was about 110, and the high end was about 118, right? So that's 10,000 at least. And it spiked above and below that. So yeah, you need at least a $12,000 range to consolidate in. So 89 to 104 instead of 89 to 94. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. See you all on the next one. Let's hope for this pattern right here. That would be the best option.